After his whole DCU debacle and the Live by Night debacle, Ben Affleck took a little bit of a break, and he chose his next project very carefully. And I guess he chose right, didn't he? Because he directed Air. Air just came out last month, or like a couple of weeks back. And as you see, I wrote it here, can it contend instead of review?
What?
Because I think that this movie is going to be a big Oscar player this year.
Wow. That's bold.
This movie tells the story about what's his name?
Sonny Vaccaro.
Sonny Vaccaro. He was the guy that worked in the marketing department at Nike, in the marketing basketball department, I guess, of Nike, which was, let's say at that time, kind of shit.
Yeah, he even says, like, we have one thing the other shoe companies don't. Our basketball division is terrible.
Exactly. And yeah, it's the story about how he turned that division around by signing one Mr. Michael not B. Jordan.
Michael A. Jordan.
Michael A. Jordan.
That's a joke from Space Jam 2, where he's like, we got Michael Jordan. Then Michael B. Jordan comes and he's like, you couldn't get Michael A. Jordan, so you got Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, man. So this movie is written by Alex Covery, and of course it's directed by Ben Affleck.
This is his first script, by the way.
Wow.
It was on the blacklist, and then they found it and said it looks like a bankable topic, a great movie, and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon did it.
That's fantastic. Again, Matt Damon plays Vaccaro, and Jason Bateman plays, I guess, the marketing head of the basketball division. Ben Affleck is also in this movie. He's not the main person, like the main character, like he was in Argo. He plays Phil Knight, which is fantastic. He's the CEO of Nike, and Ben Affleck does a so good job here. He's one of the funniest performances I've seen in a while.
I wonder if he's humble for giving Matt Damon the lead role instead of himself, or not for making him the most powerful character
in the movie. I think he did. I think he made the right choice.
I agree.
This way he could focus more on the directing. You can see that this movie is really well directed, and also like he could go a bit crazy, because Sonny Vaccaro is a bit of an ordinary Joe, and Phil Knight is like this larger-than-life character.
Exactly.
So I think he got the better end of the deal in that one. Also, Chris Messina plays David Falk. He gives Ben Affleck a run for his money and the funniest guy in this movie.
Oh, man.
For a completely different reason.
I think he was the funniest.
He's just an asshole.
Look, he was going into this movie, he was, I guess, my least favorite of the main cast, but I think he honestly gave the best performance.
No, he was so good. And Viola Davis plays Michael Jordan's mom, Dolores Jordan. And that was apparently a request from Michael Jordan himself.
I read that after. That's wild.
So that's great. Like he said, the only way you can do this movie is if Viola Davis is my mom. And that was a great choice. She's a fantastic actress.
And James Jordan Sr. is played by her actual husband, Julius Tenen.
Oh, really? That's her husband?
It's Viola's husband.
That's amazing.
So I'm sure they had a blast working on this movie together.
Yeah, and Chris Tucker also does a fantastic job as Howard White. And
he plays Chris Tucker in a suit, basically.
But he's fun. He's so fun to watch.
So you know how we were talking, like you said, crime movies aren't my thing, or I said, oh, maybe like the plot of Argo, if not for the execution, wouldn't have been intriguing for everyone. Going into Air, like sports, business, basketball, drafting people, etc. That is my thing. I get interested in that. Basketball
to be fair,
is a
this
sport.
movie is also my thing because it's a business movie, and you know that's one of
True.
my favorite types of movies.
It's also like the ultimate dad movie because
I love dad movies.
This gives me hope in dad movies and movies, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just such a fun dad. And I went with my dad and my mom and my grandparents, which was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Right away from the opening titles of the movie, the soundtrack is really good. It gives a really 80s feel.
I love the montage of the 80s in the beginning.
1984, like the beginning of it.
It's so good, man.
And
I love how this movie is also kind of like shot as if it was shot in the 80s. Did you catch that?
It's shot on film, yeah. I was about to say.
Really good. Really
it
good
honestly
choice.
reminded me a bit of Winning Time, the rise of the Lakers dynasty.
Yeah, because that's also shot like that.
Yeah, and it also has like real montages, and it's about like how this movie's about how one guy believed that a shoe and an athlete could change the world for the better. And it did, as we know. And he had nothing. He had everything to lose. And like not as much to back him as the others. Like it's wild that Nike was the underdog as opposed to Converse and Adidas at that time.
Yeah, because now they're like bigger than both of them.
Yeah. But he had this insane belief that, you know, even like Michael Jordan was a rookie at the time. He wasn't the star that we know him.
He was just drafted. He had never set foot on an NBA court, which they say at one point to him.
He put everything on the line. He had no evidence to prove that what he was going to do was about to pay off, and it changed everything. Yeah. Like Michael Jordan made sports, made celebrity a completely different entity because of who he was. And
what else can we say? Like, this movie is fantastic. Go out and watch it. It's still playing in the movie theaters.
Like I said, I love the soundtrack. I love the way that the story progressed. You know what's going to happen, obviously, but the journey, the process, the work, I think that's part of the theme also, is like the work, the struggle. That's part of what makes the job worth it.
I guess we should talk a little bit about like, since I put it here, who cares? This movie is like Oscar chances. I feel like it has a lot. I think this movie has a real shot at writing at original screenplay. It's a really good screenplay, really powerful. I don't know if Matt Damon can get there because it's so early and there's probably going to be more interesting stuff maybe later on, but I hope he can.
I don't think it's going to happen, and it's not because...
Hopefully, this is more me being hopeful than anything else. I think Ben Affleck deserves to get it.
For supporting actor?
For director.
Oh,
Yeah. I love this movie. I know you didn't love it as much, but...
No, I still really liked it. Here's my take. For directing, I don't know. It would be a bit of a wild card, but if this movie holds up, I think Golden Globes was maybe a chance for like actor for Matt Damon, Best Picture comedy. I don't think it's comedy, but I think they'll put it there anyway because there's a couple funny moments. They did that with The Martian and it won Best Comedy, even though it's not really a comedy, but he makes like two jokes. But I think
this one is even it could be a comedy way more than
I understand. I understand it though. Yeah. For Oscars right now, I see it like original screenplay best case scenario. If it got Best Picture, I don't know if it deserves it, but I wouldn't argue with it just because like I wouldn't feel good like talking smack about Air because it's such a feel good movie, and I'm glad that it's a movie that's made and that Amazon decided to send a movie back to theaters.
Yeah,
because they haven't done that in like 2 years. Directing, I don't think that's the stretch. Actor for Matt Damon, no, I don't think so because it's really early in the year, and
he gives a monologue in this movie that made me believe.
No, he's great. He's great. Like, in order for an April movie performance to get in, you have to be really strong. Like Austin Butler in Elvis, that movie came out in June, and he was like, that performance was a beast. Besides that, a lot of the nominated performances come out really later in the year.
I know, but we just came off a year where 3 of them came out in like February.
Yeah, I guess. But again, I feel like Everything Everywhere All at Once was a real beast. So you really can't know. It all depends on the campaigning. If they screen it a lot, I feel like it has a similar like dad movie crowd pleaser element that Top Gun Maverick had, where if they campaign it well,
also like a Social Network kind of vibe to it. They're like, and Social Network did get what's his name?
David Fincher, Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg got out, right? He got like a
but that was like a December movie.
Yeah, but I mean like the type of movie, the launch date.
Yeah, so it all depends. I feel like if this is the movie that Amazon has some of the most faith in terms of campaigning for awards, and they screen it well, it could do well. But even then, I feel like original screenplay would be something that is like, oh, that's really good that it got that. Just because, I don't know, if this movie came out in November, December, I would say it's a much bigger contender. But I don't know.
You're undermining how many friends Ben Affleck has.
That is also true. But again, like Last Duel didn't get nominated for anything or so on. I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's been in that many Oscar nominated movies since. If anything, Matt Damon's had a stronger career at the Oscars than Affleck, even though he's won less. Like, he's had more nominations over time.
Anyway.
But again, like you said, they have friends in high places and they produced it.
Exactly. I believe it.
Believe like Sonny Vaccaro did, exactly. And it'll happen.
Let's start with grades. What is your grade? I'm sure it's lower than mine.
Look, right now I'm saying 8 out of 10, but if I watch it again, if I think about it, it could go up to 8.5. Like, it's not that anything was missing. I just watched it and I felt like 8 out of 10 movie, which is still great. It's still great, still one of the best of the year so far.
Honestly, my favorite movie of the year so far. 9.5 out of 10.
9.5.
Yeah. Okay, you ready for the top 5, I guess? For me, it would be top 4. So I'm guessing Live by Night is your 5th?
Yeah, Live by
can
Night
we
is 5.
Let's skip that one.
Okay.
Then. So tell me your 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Even though I think from our grades it might be obvious which one is the one.
Honestly, just because it's newer, I'll say 4, Gone Baby Gone, 3, Air, 2, The Town.
Okay. So for me, it's a very different. 4, The Town, 3, Gone Baby Gone, 2, Air.
It's like the reverse. But I don't disagree with Air being higher. I just think I have more hindsight with like having seen The Town and loving it for longer.
It's literally just because it's my type of movie. Just like crime is your type of movie, business is my type of movie.
It's not even the type of movie that put it above. Like if both of them came out in if I'd seen both in 2016, 17, and I'd have that hindsight with both of them, then maybe Air would be. I don't know yet. That's the thing. I feel like I just consumed Air.
Okay. You do that. You do that every day. And obviously,
that's not intentional at all.
And obviously, from what's missing here, our number 1 is obviously Argo.
Yeah, exactly.
And for good reason. I do think that there's a chance that Air could surpass it, given enough years. But for now, it won't. We love Ben Affleck. He's honestly one of my favorite directors, definitely in my top 20. And yeah, man, go watch Air. It's a fantastic movie, and it's a goddamn miracle that a mid-range movie like that is playing in the multiplex. So go watch that instead of God knows what other garbage is there right now.
Yeah, honestly, like, I know that everyone who hasn't seen either will tell you the opposite, but watch Air over Mario.
I still haven't watched Mario, even though like it's one of my I think I'm gonna like it. I think I'm gonna be one of the contrarians.
It's just like it just felt like an AI movie.
From okay, anyway. So go watch Air. Bye.
Have a good week, guys.
Film Fanatics. From the silver screen to your earphones with Alan Azulay and Gal Balaban. Film Fanatics. From the silver screen to your earphones with Alan Azulay and Gal Balaban.